Hi, this video is going to help with frequency tables, two-way frequency tables in section 6.5 of course 1 or any other person that needs to know about frequency tables. So the first thing is just a general idea of what it is. And we use category data for this one. So everything we've been doing so far in chapter 6 has been like numerical data. This one's more for category data. So in this one, we had men and women, and they watched movie A and B, and then we have a row for totals. And I left some spots blank so that we can fill those in and understand how the categories work. So we have movie A, and so the total would be 103. Well, if I have 78 men, how many women would have been in that category right here? You would have to subtract to find those. So I'd take 103 and I'd subtract 78 because this total here is for that column. So this would be 25. And then over here in B, we know we have 86 women. So what would have been our total here? We would take that 98 and we would subtract 86 and we'd get 12. So we would have 12 here. Now, how does the totals work over here? Well, these rows have to add to the totals here. So I'd have 78 plus 12 to get us 90 here. And then we had 25 plus 86, which would give us 111. And these better add to the 201. So 111 plus 90 does give us 201. This way better add to 201 too. So 103 plus 98 better be 201. So this row and this column both add to the same number here. This is a general two-way frequency table. It has two different categories on both sides: men, women, movies, and two different kind of movies. And we do different things with this. We could just do this kind of table. Again, we call this one just a two-way frequency table. We could also go from data to a table, and I wanted to make sure we went through that as well. So here's my second question where it says, all right, a survey asked 170 freshmen and sophomores whether they prefer math or English. Of the 87 freshmen, 36 said they liked math. Of the 83 sophomores, 27 said they like or prefer English. So we have to make a two-way frequency table. So first of all, we have freshman, sophomore, math, and English. So I'm going to just go freshmen on this side. Oops. And I'm going to go sophomores over here. Maybe I'll just say soph. And then on top, I'm going to say math and English. And then remember, the last one is our total. Oops. And this row down here is also our total. Okay. So it says there were 87 freshmen, or of the 87 freshmen, 36 prefer math. So we have 36 here, and we know there's 87 total. So how many would that leave left for English if there's 87 total? Well, you'd take 87 and you'd subtract that 36, giving you 51 for English. Then let's look at sophomores. There's 83 total sophomores, so we better have 83 here. And 27 like English, and so we'd subtract 83 and 27 to give us 56 that liked math. Then we could just add down. Here we'd get 92, here we'd get 78, and that better add to 170, which is the same thing that the 87 plus the 83 better add to as well. And they do. So you could take data and then make your table, and you have to, subtract a little in here to get that totally figured out. So then we move on to, well, what if we want to know like percents or decimals of different things? So then we start looking at a two-way relative frequency table. And basically what this does is it takes your total number of things and it divides it by the sections. Oops, let me move this back down a little bit. I am going to use this table that we created here that have the men and women, and I'm going to make the relative frequency table. Sorry, I'm looking for... Oh, here it is. I was like, I had this somewhere. So I didn't have to sit and divide every single one. So what I'm going to look at down here in my new one is we know that there was 201 total here. So to make the relative frequency, I put the decimals in each spot. So basically here we had 25 at women, so I would do 25 divided by the total of 201. Here I would do 12 divided by the 201. Here I would do the 86 divided by the 201. And I could do the same on the big categories out here. 90 divided by 201. And 111 divided by 201. And I could do 201 divided by 201, which better give me 1, right? So everything has to add to 1. And then this one over here would be the 103 divided by the 201. And I would just calculate these on your calculator. And I did the first one, it's about 0.39. Or you can think of that as 39%. So you can kind of get a little more data if you think of it in terms of a decimal or a percent than just saying, okay, well, 78 men. Well, look at it overall. That's 39% of the men liked movie A. And then here you could see this one. If I did this one, it's about 0.06, which is about 6% of the men liked movie B. Gives you a little more data, and it's a little easier to make connections with in the relative frequency table. Then and the relative frequency table, you're asked questions in your homework that could be a little bit confusing. The homework could ask for joint frequency or marginal frequency. And what they're asking you is to find those connections with the decimal or the percent. And the joint would be part of that main table, so you don't really see the totals. Marginal would include those total rows. So let's look at one that has like joint frequency, because that one's a little bit different. I already have the table here. And for conditional relative frequency, you divide the joint frequency, that's just the main table, by the row totals or the column totals. So you're just looking at the totals this way and this way that we would have put here, 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 and here. Those are the totals that you're using to find your decimals. And that's all. So the relative frequency, and then this one is including joint in there. So what is the conditional relative frequency that a player batting in 100 or the 1, 2, 3 position reached base? So we reached base. So we want to know that there is a 9 there that reached base, but how many total were there in that category or area? It was 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12 in that one there. So I'd have 9 twelfths, which would be 0.75 as a decimal, or 75% reached base that were in that first, second, third position. So you could be asked lots of different questions. You could be asked then again for 4 and 6, what's the relative frequency? You could be asked the joint relative frequency. Basically, just pay attention. If it's joint, you're looking at just inside here. If you're using the word marginal, you're going to include some totals for the whole entire thing. So you kind of have to play a little bit with understanding which section it's asking. It really depends on the question. And you only have a couple questions of this on your homework. So if you need to do similar exercise a couple times till you understand it, that's fine.